Tonight, a family is lucky to be alive after a serious crash on the Augusta Highway, and Olympian Kyle Chalmers to encourage men to talk about their mental health in Whyalla.
This is Southern Cross News with Abby Donaldson.
Good evening. Emergency services rushed to the scene of a serious crash near Mambray Creek in the state's mid-north today. Garth Burley is at the scene, and Garth, remarkably, none of the injuries were life-threatening.
Yes, Abby, a family are lucky to be alive after their car and trailer careered off the side of the road on the Augusta Highway just before 12 p.m. The white Mitsubishi Pajero was travelling north when its trailer began to sway, throwing the vehicle off balance at high speed. The car veered onto the wrong side of the road, snapping off the trailer, which flipped and came to a rest 20 metres away. Windows smashed, doors dinted, but a car in surprisingly good shape, a telling sign of just how lucky this family of five were. A 45-year-old man, 12-year-old girl, 14-year-old boy and 16-year-old girl were taken to Port Pirie Hospital for treatment, while the driver of the car, a 44-year-old woman, was flown to Royal Adelaide Hospital with serious injuries. The crash caused disruptions on the Augusta Highway, with north and southbound traffic halted for up to 20 minutes at a time, forcing queues for hundreds of metres. Police say they're not considering speed or fatigue as factors for the crash, and this was just an unfortunate accident, which was lucky not to have tragic consequences. This is the second serious crash on the highway in as many months, after a fatal accident at Winanawi in August.
Olympic swimming champion Kyle Chalmers and Australia's youngest CEO will headline a mental health conference in Whyalla. Titled Let's Talk, the event aims to end the man-up culture in society and encourage males to seek help.
For young men, it can be hard to open up about mental health struggles. A culture of being told to man up has been dominant for years, and a Whyalla group wants to change that, beginning with the Let's Talk event next month.
Everyone in the community realises we've got a fight on our hands when it comes to men and suicide and other aspects of mental health, and the community is willing to get behind it and back it.
It'll be held at the Middleback on October 13. Olympic gold medalist Kyle Chalmers will swap the pool for the podium as a guest speaker, and Australia's youngest CEO Josh Brynjak will speak about his experiences with depression.
They understand the gravity of the situation. We've got the responses from the guys that are willing to come and talk, knowing that this is a subject that isn't going away.
Medical professionals will also be available on the day.
Conversation, a debrief. We've got quiet spaces for them to go off and have a chat with the clinicians that we have on hand.
The event comes at a crossroads. Research released yesterday shows Australia's suicide rate is above the WHO average. Mr. Edwards says the fight has to begin in local communities.
Have a discussion about what they need to talk about within their lives, but also empower the people that may come into contact with these men.
Tickets are available for $10 through Eventbrite. Remember, if you or someone you know needs help, call Lifeline on 13 11 14. John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
Tackling rheumatic heart disease in remote Indigenous communities is a serious issue in the Spencer Gulf, with health professionals and locals coming together in Port Augusta to learn about the importance of recognising symptoms early and keeping our hearts healthy.
Rheumatic heart disease is a pressing problem, which claims the lives of 1,000 people a day around the world.
What that means is in the space of 3 months, there would be as many deaths in the world that would fill the MCG this weekend.
And the disease is just as prevalent on home soil.
Well over 90% of all cases of acute rheumatic fever and rheumatic heart disease are occurring in our Indigenous communities.
What worries health professionals the most is that it's 100% preventable. They've spent the last 2 days educating local medicos on the front line.
But I think it's also important that we come and ask, particularly Aboriginal health workers, nurses and doctors, how we can support them and assist them in diagnosis as well.
Health workers from across the state came together to learn the practical and the theory on how to beat the disease, including administering penicillin to patients.
Everybody's been really engaged, and it's fantastic for us to be able to have a chat with them and see how we can support them on their work on the ground.
Also learning to identify the early symptoms of the deadly disease, including a fast heart rate, pain in your joints or fatigue in your body. For those who want to know more, Rheumatic Heart Disease Australia has an app which gives guidelines for prevention and diagnosis. For more information, visit the RHD Australia website. Garth Burley, Southern Cross News.
A Port Lincoln cafe has joined the Pay It Forward movement by offering cups of coffee to those who may not be able to afford it. Strangers can buy a cup of coffee and leave a note on the cup, which is then offered to anyone who might be doing it tough. Dolores Devine started offering random cups of kindness 2 months ago and has already seen the community pay more than 50 cups of coffee forward.
We're astounded by the number of people that want to give. So I think from a community perspective, it's outreaching. Kindness is contagious.
The cafe celebrated its first birthday today, so for every cup of kindness purchased, it'll match it. Any leftover cups are donated to local volunteers. What a great initiative. The Cummins community has been getting the ride of their life with a new $14,000 Danish Trishaw. The bicycle is a way to get the elderly and disabled out and about in the fresh air and help them reconnect with the local town.
With the wind in their hair and a wave to passers-by, the Cummins Cycling Without Age bike is sweeping elderly residents off their feet.
They can go for a crop inspection, they can check out machinery dealerships, we can go through all the roses, we can come for a coffee. It just gets them out of their own four walls.
The $14,000 Danish Trio Taxi Trishaw has come all the way from Copenhagen, made possible with the help of some local and government support. And today, the Parkinson's group from nearby Tumby Bay came to Cummins to check out the wheels, with hopes to purchase their own.
We've got our lovely bike trail along the foreshore. When the weather gets nice, there'll be nothing more better than to get the elderly out, give them an ice cream, take them for a ride.
The group all got their chance at a test ride and are thrilled at the idea of getting one in Tumby Bay.
Maybe we need several. But certainly help us to get around, those of us who don't handle our own feet very well anymore. Something like that would be a great help.
The Trishaw is operated by a volunteer pilot, and my pilot Tiff here is ready to take me for a spin. For passengers going for a ride, there's one very important rule: to smile and wave. Casey Trelaw, Southern Cross News.
What a cute story. Still to come tonight, a new crop of SA farmers have been awarded prestigious Nuffield scholarships, and we'll find out what one Crystal Brook local plans to do with it. And donut lovers delight as Krispy Kreme opens up shop in Whyalla. Hello again. The Deputy Mayor and a new library were the hot talking points at Broken Hill City Council's monthly meeting last night. A Sydney-based architect has been appointed to design the library in the heart of the Silver City.
A short and sharp meeting with some major announcements. Marion Brown has been re-elected as Deputy Mayor, fending off Councillors Kennedy and Gallagher. The big news, though, was councillors endorsing Neeson Murcutt Architects to design the city's new library and surrounding cultural precinct.
Realistically, what that's about is looking to reinvigorate Argent Street, create a cultural hub for the city and a centre, a honeypot, if you like, that will draw people into that city centre and reinvigorate Argent Street.
Council received 10 applicants during a lengthy tender process. Neeson Murcutt's $1.5 million tender was accepted by the city's councillors, the General Manager holding them in high regard.
Significant amount of experience in developing projects all around Australia and internationally, and they'll bring a certain sort of dynamic to the city that we haven't seen before, and one that I think is really going to be a transformational project for the city.
Neeson Murcutt will now face the challenge of incorporating the iconic Town Hall facade into the new library's design.
Again, the thinking around that is that you've got this wonderful heritage building, so you enter through that building, it's sort of entering the old and sort of getting into the new, so it's a fantastic opportunity for the city.
Patrick Ryankey, Southern Cross News.
4 South Australian farmers have been awarded the prestigious 2019 Nuffield Scholarship. Among them is Andrew Sargent from Crystal Brook, who's been granted $30,000 for research into sensor technologies.
The era of globalisation has led farmers to look beyond the wheat field to improve farming. Andrew Sargent, a 5th-generation farmer from Crystal Brook, is doing something his ancestors would have never dreamed of, using the internet for answers, in particular sensor and IoT technologies.
As the cost's getting lower and more companies are investing in this technology, I just wanted to see what of that technology we could actually bring back here and do something different with.
These technologies are believed to benefit the food and fibre supply chain. Andrew is particularly focused on how new sensor technologies can allow for better weather observations and informed decision-making processes. The $30,000 grant awarded by the Nuffield Institute will ensure that Andrew can travel the globe to meet world-leading experts from as far away as Israel and Serbia.
We head to the Netherlands. They're doing a lot of stuff in this space. Europe seems to be leading the way with a lot of startup companies over there. Head over to America, to the US, into California. Andrew hopes the wealth of knowledge he attains abroad will help him bring something new and exciting back home to use on the farm and within the community. Dominic Beaton, Southern Cross News.
Whyalla residents' prayers and stomachs have been answered with donut franchise Krispy Kreme to open next month. It's part of a brand new On the Run, which is in the final stages of construction on Playford Avenue. The American franchise will also be joined by a BP petrol station and a Subway. The tasty treats will go on sale from October 10. Well, spring is in the air at the Whyalla Art Gallery. Its annual spring exhibition is open to the public with over 50 pieces from 16 different artists. Gallery President May Walker-Jeffrey says the season is reflected in the work.
Artists have a whole range of reference material that they can use because the flowers are in abundance, plus we've got the blooms coming out.
The exhibition is open until mid-October from 11 until 3, Tuesday through to Friday, and Saturdays between 11 and 1 p.m. Well, forget your Xboxes and PlayStation 4s. This weekend, it's all about old school gaming at Port Pirie's Bowland. The venue will be holding the Pinball State Championships for the first time.
Old school gamers are ditching the consoles for a retro revival at Port Pirie's Bowland.
We had our first tournament in May at the Federal Hotel, and that was basically a roaring success for what we thought it was going to be, and people came from Adelaide to play with us.
This niche and unique hobby draws people in with the lights, the music, and most importantly, the thrill of the game. This weekend's championship has already caught the attention of a national champion from New South Wales. To the victor goes the spoils. The winner of this weekend will receive $400. Pinball brings out the best of the 80s, or should I say the best of David Hasselhoff, with this stylistic Baywatch edition.
Planning on having just over 20 machines, and they'll be made up of some machines are mine, and there's a collective of half a dozen.
Next week, and the juniors competition gets underway just in time for school holidays. Dominic Beaton, Southern Cross News.
Looks like fun. Well, stay with us after the break. We'll tell you what's biting around the Gulf. And in the weather, it looks like some welcomed rain is finally on the way. I'll have all the local weather details next. Welcome back. Time now for Fish and Tips.
It's that particular time. We'll all enjoy the Smelters Picnic this week, but the great thing about Smelters Picnic, there's a lot of salmon that come around. The snapper are actually out on Germain Wreck at the moment, so work your burley up, get out there and have a go. While you're there, also throw your crab net over, because there's a good possibility you could get some crabs as well. And don't forget snook. They seem to come around in that September, October time, and they're as big as baseball bats at the moment. So enjoy your fishing. We'll see you next week.
G'day and welcome to this week's Fish and Tips of Port Augusta, Jewel North. Well, there's fish out there, but not in any great numbers, but a lot of different species. Salmon up and around the creeks, try Chinaman's Creek, and also up around Port Patterson over in the Oyster Run. There are some snapper down around the powerhouse. King George whiting are there. The slime started to lift. A lot of little ones, and also the shitties are starting to hammer in the baits, but the ones you are getting are quite big. That's all we have from the Jewel North.
Some good numbers of King George whiting continue to run across Whyalla. Best grounds to target have definitely been down towards the Mount Young grounds. Working the white holes out in front of Mount Young has been the best. If you've got some drops in that area, definitely worthwhile having a crack on those too. A few nice size whiting coming in from the Marricks and the Boilers. Also across from the Fairway Banks, there's been a few nice King George whiting holding up there. Land-based from Whyalla, there's been a few nice squid and a few small salmon trout coming from the Marina rock walls. From Point Lowly, there's been some nice big salmon holding up on the western corner of the Point Lowly Lighthouse.
G'day and welcome to Fishing Tips in Port Lincoln. Locally in the bay, squid has been the main species. There's been a few around. Whiting have been pretty slow in the bay. There have been some whiting down the passage, so down around Taylor's Landing and down around Thistle. Also down the passage there's been a few snapper caught down the very bottom, and also in between Thistle and Wedge on some of the lumps out wide there, and also some nice Samson fish. Moving over to Coffin Bay, and there's still been plenty of whiting out around the farm beach grounds. Out wide of Sir Isaac's, the Nanagai have been really slow over the last couple of weeks for some reason, but there have been some snapper up to about 70 centimetres and some nice school sharks out that way as well. Well, that's all we've got for this week. We'll see you again with more fishing tips next week.
And time now to take a look at what's happening in the weather. But first, thanks to Gail for sending in this stunning Whyalla sunset pic. If you have a weather shot for us, shoot us an email at localnews@sea.com.au. We certainly love getting them. Well, cold air heading towards parts of SA saw a drop in temps today. Still lovely springtime conditions though. 23 was the max in Port Augusta, while it was more like summer in Broken Hill, sunny and 30 today. On the satellite, cloud over the southeastern parts of SA with a cold front is causing a few welcome showers. And on the waters for your Friday, southerly shifting southwesterly winds up to 25 knots, seas at a metre with a south-southwesterly swell. We'll see similar temperatures around all centres tomorrow. Cloudy for Port Augusta and Whyalla. Some welcomed patchy rain forecast for the EP and the mid-north. Port Lincoln heading for a top of 18 degrees, 14 the max for Coffin Bay and Clare, and fine conditions for Broken Hill, a cooler 22 degrees tomorrow. And a fair bit of cloud cover about for Port Lincoln on Saturday, but skies will clear and it will warm up too to a lovely 21 degrees on Monday. Fine conditions in Cleve for the weekend. Again, warming up to start the week and a sunny outlook for Woodner this weekend. 26 the top for Sunday. That cloud cover will clear by Sunday as the mercury rises back up into the 20s. A sunny 27 forecast for Port Augusta on Sunday and 28 for Monday. And Whyalla will also see temps creep back up again, 27 to kick off the working week. Lastly, gorgeous sunny conditions here for the weekend. 19 the top for Port Pirie on Saturday, with the mercury continuing to rise into the high 20s. That's the same for Broken Hill, and Clare will see nothing but sunny skies too. So springtime weather is certainly in full swing. And that's all from the team this Thursday. Thanks for your company. Good night.